My husband's adopted sister never shopped online. She would always ask me to buy things for her. But every time she transferred money, it was always exactly $20. She was the daughter of my father-in-law's fallen comrade. And the whole family pitied her for being an orphan. So whether it was skincare that cost hundreds, or a phone and handbag that cost thousands, I would cover the difference myself, only accepting the $20 she sent. Until one day my husband Nicholas asked me, his tone casual but pointed, "When Tessa asks you to buy things for her, you buy them at the market price, right? She's so naive. You never send her a receipt. She wouldn't even know if you were pocketing the difference." And Tessa just smiled helplessly, making no move to explain. My in-law shot me suspicious glances. A chill went down my spine. But I didn't say anything. So when she asked me to buy New Year's gifts for the whole family, a shopping list that totaled nearly $2,000, I accepted her usual payment. And then bought a pile of trinkets from the dollar store. At the lavish New Year's Eve dinner, everyone stared at the pile of nail clippers, keychains and stainless steel tumblers. Completely bewildered, I smiled brightly. "These are the New Year's gifts Tessa picked out for everyone. Please take your pick." Tessa's smile was strained. "Ashley, this isn't the time for jokes. These aren't the gifts I wanted to give." Her voice began to tremble and she looked at my husband, Nicholas, and my in-laws with wounded eyes. "Tessa uses her bonus every year to buy everyone lovely gifts. She's never bought junk like this," my mother-in-law said, putting down her chopsticks. "Ashley, you must have made a mistake." A relative chimed in, "Yes. Tessa has always been such a grateful girl. The gifts in previous years were nothing like this." I knew they wanted to say junk, too. And they were right. In past years, Tessa's gifts had included imported candies, gourmet snacks, expensive perfumes, and fine liquors. This year, the nicest item was a plain gray stainless steel tumbler. It wasn't even in the same league. "No mistake," I said, my voice firm. "This is it." Tessa shot up from her chair. "Ashley, why are you doing this to me? Did I do something to upset you?" There it was again. Whenever something happened, she always twisted it to be about her upsetting me, painting me as the cruel bully of the family. I was about to show them the transfer record when Nicholas, who had been scowling beside Tessa, slammed his hand on the table. "Ashley, I've had enough of you. Tessa clearly transferred you $2,000 to buy gifts. What is this garbage? This stuff isn't even worth $20. I've let it slide. When you've pocketed the difference from Tessa's other purchases, but deliberately humiliating her like this in front of everyone, you've gone too far." At his words, the expressions of the relatives around the table shifted. My mother-in-law pointed a finger at me. "Ashley, I thought you were a kind and generous person. For helping Tessa all this time. How could you do something so despicable?" My father-in-law cleared his throat. His eyes filled with contempt. "Does the Pierce family not provide for you? Are you so desperate for money that you cheat a war orphan?" I ignored their accusations and looked directly at Tessa, my expression innocent. "Tessa transferred me $20 to buy gifts for all of you. This is what I could get." "Ashley, how can you lie like that? I sent you $2,000. It was my entire annual bonus." Tessa cried, her eyes darting nervously to Nicholas. He immediately backed her up. "It was $2,000. I knew about her bonus and I knew she asked you to buy the gifts. Stop making things up." His declaration was so forceful that everyone believed him. Tessa is the daughter of a hero. She would never be so deceitful. But Ashley is a businesswoman. Profit is in her blood. I just never thought she'd stoop to this. I raised my hand, cutting off Nicholas's uncle, and placed my phone on the table. "See for yourselves how much she sent me." Tessa froze, her first instinct to snatch the phone. But Nicholas's younger cousin was faster. He looked at the screen and burst out laughing, then passed the phone around for everyone to see. Nicholas was the last to look. The righteous indignation on everyone's faces vanished. "Tessa, you really did only send Ashley $20. A muscle twitched in Tessa's cheek. She forced a laugh. "Oh. Did I? I didn't even realize she." She slid up next to me, linking her arm through mine. "I'm so sorry, Ashley. I'm used to being frugal, so I'm not in the habit of making large transfers. I must have made a mistake. Please don't be mad. I'll send you the $2,000 right now." She pulled out her phone, a sly smile on her face. I was about to refuse, but Nicholas pulled her away, making her put her phone down. "Why should you pay her, Ashley? Tessa only made one mistake. You could have just covered the difference. But instead you chose to embarrass her in front of the whole family. What are your intentions?" How much have you skimmed off her over the years? It's got to be more than 2,000 by now, right? He accused. Tessa murmured from the side. It's okay, Nick. We're family. It doesn't matter. I laughed coldly, watching their little performance. What was this? Were they really going to brand me a thief who cheated? A war orphan with no proof at all? My gaze fell on Tessa. She shrank behind Nicholas. Her guilt obvious. He, of course, thought she was frightened by my stare. You know how hard Tessa's life has been. He snapped. She wasn't born with a silver spoon like you. She only started to have a decent life when she came to live with us. And even then, she's always been so careful not to be a burden. We all promised to treat her like our own daughter. But you, her monthly salary is barely anything. And you still have the nerve to cheat her? Do you have a conscience? Are you that desperate for money? His words grew uglier. The looks from the others grew colder. Tessa pretended to intervene. Nick, please don't fight with Ashley because of me. I'll be fine. She dabbed at her eyes. Darting glances at me. I had to laugh. This was exactly what she wanted. Nicholas and I fighting over her. Then she would play the victim. And he would spend the night comforting her. Sometimes staying away for days. This little drama had played out countless times over the years before. I tried not to think too much of it. I respected her father's sacrifice. I wanted to believe in the integrity of a hero's daughter. Every time Nicholas accused me of being unfair to her, I would wonder if I was being intolerant. And so I would bite my tongue. But now I was done being silent. I looked at the circle of relatives who saw me as a petty, greedy merchant. Since you're so sure I've been cheating her, let's settle the accounts. The moment I said that, Tessa's panic was palpable. She quickly tried to smooth things over. Settle what? It's New Year's Eve. Let's not make a scene over something so small. Ashley, she said, moving closer and whispering in my ear. Making a big deal out of this won't be good for anyone. It's just about money. My godparents will never say I'm in the wrong. And you don't want to burn bridges with my brother. Do you? A sarcastic smile touched my lips. This was the innocent, sweet girl Nicholas and my in-laws adored when they weren't looking. She didn't even bother with the act. Tessa, you don't have to speak up for her. My father-in-law said, his face, Graham. If Nicholas hadn't said something, I would have never known how much you've been suffering. By her side all these years. Settle the accounts. Does she dare? I've always said a merchant's daughter was not fit to be a peer. You can't wash away the stench of money. She's just like her greedy father. The contempt in his voice when he mentioned my father made my blood boil. My father was an honest businessman who had donated millions over the years. My father-in-law himself had taken no small amount from him under the guise of charity. And now we were the greedy ones. I clenched my jaw and slammed my phone on the table. I have a clear conscience, Tessa. Today in front of all our relatives. We are going to settle this. If I have taken a single cent more than I was owed, I will pay you back tenfold. You. Tessa blinked at me frantically from behind everyone's backs. I ignored her. Sweat beaded on her forehead. She twisted the hem of her dress. Nicholas put a protective arm around her. An intimate gesture that stung my eyes. Ashley, you don't need to threaten Tessa. Every transfer, every payment leaves a record. If you want to settle this, fine. His support only made Tessa more flustered. Then my mother-in-law sighed. It's New Year's Eve. This is no way to behave. Her words seemed to give Tessa an idea. She composed herself. Godmother is right, Ashley. There's no need for all this little extra money here and there. Doesn't matter. In a little while, I'll transfer you a few thousand. As a thank you for all your help over the years. Today is about family and celebration. Let's not ruin it. Before I could speak, her strategic retreat had already provoked Nicholas. Tessa, you can't be so naive. Even if you let it go, a person like her won't appreciate it. She's taking advantage of your good nature. She should be the one paying you back. Pay me back? I repeated, my voice terrifyingly calm amidst the chaos of the dinner table. Nicholas, you're an accountant at a top firm. You know that numbers don't have feelings. They don't have hero fathers or hard childhoods. They just are. I didn't give them time to protest. I unlocked my phone, opened my banking app, and tapped the cast screen icon. The massive 85-inch television in the Pierce family living room, usually reserved for Nicholas's football games, flickered to life. My bank statement filled the screen. Let's start with last month, I said, walking over to the TV like I was leading a boardroom presentation. Tessa asked for the limited edition Starry Night necklace. Market price, $4,500. Here is the receipt from Van Cleef and Arpels on my credit card. I swiped left. And here is the transfer from Tessa on the same day. Timestamp, 10:42 a.m. Amount, $20. Memo, thanks sis, love, dot. The room went dead silent. The contrast between the 4-figure debit and the 2-figure credit was stark, projected in high definition. Let's go back to her birthday, I continued, swiping again. A designer handbag. Cost, $3,200. Transfer from Tessa, $20. I scrolled faster. Skincare sets, imported shoes, a new laptop, concert tickets. The pattern was psychotic in its consistency. Every single transaction was met with exactly $20. I did a quick sum while you were all screaming at me, I said, turning to face my father-in-law, whose face had gone from red to a sickly shade of gray. Over the 5 years I have been married to Nicholas, Tessa has purchased items through me totaling $143,000. Her total payments to me amount to exactly $860. That's impossible, Nicholas stammered, staring at the screen. He looked at Tessa. You told me you paid her back in cash sometimes. You said Ashley preferred cash. I never accept cash without a receipt, Nick. You know that, I cut in. I'm a merchant's daughter, remember? We keep records. Tessa was trembling, but not with sorrow this time. It was the vibration of a trapped animal. This is doctored. She edited the photos. Godmother, you know I wouldn't. It's a live banking feed, Tessa, I said dryly. Refresh it if you want. My mother-in-law, usually the first to defend Tessa, looked at the pile of dollar store nail clippers on the table, then at the screen, and finally at Tessa's frantic face. The math was overwhelming. The sheer audacity of sending exactly $20 for a $4,000 necklace wasn't just cheap, it was a power play. It was Tessa mocking me, knowing I wouldn't say anything. Why? Nicholas whispered, his voice cracking. Tessa, you have a job. You have the trust fund from your father's pension. Where is your money going if you're scamming my wife? Tessa burst into tears, covering her face. I just wanted to fit in. You all look so glamorous, and I'm just the orphan girl. I thought Ashley wouldn't mind. She has so much money, she doesn't even notice. I noticed, I said. I just tolerated it for the sake of family peace. But today, you called me a thief. You tried to ruin my reputation. I picked up the unfinished glass of wine from the table and poured it into the sink. The audit is finished, I announced. Tessa owes me $142,140. I expect a payment plan drafted by Monday. And Nicholas? He looked up, eyes hollow. I'm going to stay at a hotel tonight. Don't follow me. Chapter 2, The Vacuum of Wealth. The week following New Year's Eve was a revelation for the Pierce family. I didn't just leave, I extracted my infrastructure. The Pierce family, I realized, didn't actually know how much their lifestyle cost because I had automated everything. I paid the mortgage on the main house. I paid for the landscaping, the pool maintenance, the country club memberships, and the weekly grocery delivery. On January 2nd, I cancelled every standing order. On January 3rd, the power company sent a disconnect notice to my in-laws because the account was in my name and I had closed it, forcing them to re-register and pay the deposit. On January 4th, Nicholas called me. The maid didn't show up, he said. He sounded exhausted. I know, I replied, typing away on my laptop in my suite at the Four Seasons. I fired her. Or rather, I stopped paying her salary. If you want her back, you can rehire her. Her rate is $40 an hour. Ashley, please. Mom is having a meltdown. She can't manage the house alone. And Dad. Dad is saying you're being vindictive. I'm not being vindictive, Nicholas. I'm being a greedy merchant. Merchants don't provide free services. I'm simply letting the Pierce family stand on its own 2 feet. Isn't that what your father always bragged about? The Pierce resilience? I miss you, he said softly. Not the money. You. Do you? I asked. Or do you miss the buffer between you and Tessa? By the way, has she paid me back yet? She's having some liquidity issues. I laughed, a sharp, humorless sound. Check the guest room closet, Nick. Check the serial numbers on the bags. I have a feeling Tessa's liquidity issues might be solved if she stops hiding her inventory. What do you mean? Just look. I hung up. Chapter 3, The Reseller. I hired a private investigator named Reynolds. He was expensive, discreet, and ruthless. It took him 3 days to find what I suspected. We met in the hotel lobby. Reynolds slid a manila folder across the marble table. Your sister-in-law is an entrepreneur, Reynolds said with a smirk. Just an illegal one. I opened the folder. It was a printout of an online storefront on a luxury resale site. The account name was Hero Chic. There they were. The bags. The jewelry. The limited edition cosmetics. She wasn't using them, I realized, staring at a photo of a Chanel bag I had bought for her 3 months ago. The listing photo was taken on the carpet of my in-laws' guest room. She requests the items from you, pays $20, and flips them online for 90% of the market value, Reynolds explained. Since she has zero overhead cost, it's pure profit. She's made about 200 grand in the last 3 years. Where is the money? I asked. If she has $200,000, why does she act broke? Reynolds flipped to the next page. Online gambling. Crypto scams. And a very expensive boyfriend who invests in NFTs. She's bleeding cash as fast as she steals it. I closed the folder. Thank you, Reynolds. This is exactly what I needed for the divorce proceedings. Chapter 4, The Collapse. I filed for divorce on the grounds of financial infidelity and irreconcilable differences. I didn't ask for alimony. I had more money than Nicholas could ever dream of. I just wanted a clean break. But the Pierce family wouldn't let it be clean. My father-in-law, desperate to save face as his social circle realized he couldn't afford his lifestyle, went on the offensive. He told anyone who would listen that I had abandoned the family, that I was cruel to an orphan, that I was trying to bankrupt them out of spite. It culminated at the mesmerizing Spring Gala, a charity event my father's company sponsored. I walked in wearing a dress that cost more than Nicholas's car, my head held high. Nicholas was there, looking disheveled, wearing a suit that hadn't been pressed. Beside him was Tessa, wearing the one dress I hadn't bought for her, it looked cheap and ill-fitting. They cornered me near the champagne tower. You have to stop this lawsuit, Nicholas hissed, grabbing my arm. The lawyer fees are bleeding us dry. Tessa is willing to apologize publicly if you just drop the debt and come home. Willing to apologize? I pulled my arm away. How generous. You're ruining us, Ashley. Tessa cried out, her voice drawing the attention of the nearby elite. You have millions. Why do you need to destroy a family over a few misunderstandings? My father died for this country, and you treat his daughter like a criminal. The room went quiet. This was her trump card. The war hero defense. I turned to face the crowd. I saw my business partners, my father's friends, and the socialites who had whispered about me for years. Your father was a hero, Tessa, I said, my voice projecting clearly. Captain Miller was a brave man. My father respected him so much that he fully funded the scholarship fund that paid for your college tuition. Tessa froze. What? You didn't know? I smiled sadly. The anonymous donor who put you through private school and university? That was my father, the greedy merchant. He never wanted credit. He just wanted to help his friend's daughter. I signaled to the projectionist. I had prepared for this possibility. On the screen behind the stage, where the charity logos were rotating, a new image appeared. It was the screenshot of Tessa's Hero Chic resale account, followed by her gambling debts. I didn't mind supporting you, Tessa. But I do mind that you took the gifts I bought you, gifts you claimed were to help you fit in, and sold them to fuel a gambling addiction, all while letting your brother and his parents believe I was the one hurting you. The crowd murmured. Phones were out. This was social suicide for the Pierces. My father honored yours with silence and charity, I told her. You dishonored him with greed and lies. Nicholas stared at the screen, seeing the dates. That date, that was the day I told you we couldn't afford a vacation, and you sold the diamond earrings Ashley gave you for $5,000? Tessa backed away, shaking her head. No, Nick, she's lying. But the evidence was right there. I'm done, I said to Nicholas. My lawyer will send the final papers tomorrow. If you contest them, I will release the rest of the forensic accounting. I suggest you save whatever money you have left for your own rent. Chapter 5, The Aftermath. The divorce took 6 months. Nicholas tried to fight for a settlement, claiming he had become accustomed to the lifestyle I provided. The judge, a stern woman who had reviewed the forensic accounting of Tessa's theft and Nicholas's negligence, laughed him out of mediation. I kept my assets. I kept my dignity. The Pierce family house was sold. My father-in-law had to downsize to a 2-bedroom apartment. Without my connections, his consulting business dried up. Tessa didn't fare well. Once the safety net was gone, the reality of her debts crashed down on her. The last I heard, Nicholas had cut ties with her after she stole his mother's jewelry to pay off a bookie. She was living in a roommate situation across town, working retail, ironically, selling the kind of handbags she used to scalp. Epilogue, a New Balance. 1 year later. I sat in my office, overlooking the city skyline. My business had doubled in the last year, largely because I was no longer distracted by the emotional and financial drain of the Pierce family. My assistant buzzed in. Ashley, there's a delivery for you. It's cash? I frowned. Send it in. A courier walked in with a thick envelope. Inside, there was a stack of bills totaling $20. Exactly $20. There was a note, written in Nicholas's handwriting. I know it's not the $142,000. It's all I have right now after paying the lawyers. I found this in an old jacket pocket, the first $20 Tessa ever sent you. I should have asked questions then. I'm sorry. I looked at the $20 bill. It was wrinkled and old. I didn't feel a surge of triumph, nor a pang of longing. I just felt light. I took the $20 and put it in the charity box on my desk, a fund for war orphans, managed properly this time. Close the door on your way out, I told the courier. I went back to work. The accounts were finally settled.